To me, it seems inconsistent with your role as FBI director that you would own stock in a company that is based in a country that is the nation's premier national security threat. It's like you are putting your own financial security over the security of the nation.
I disagree with that characterization.
Well, I think the American people look at it like it's a classic situation of the fox guarding the hen house.
Congressman Hank Johnson hit FBI Director Kash Patel with a question that cut straight to the core. Could your personal financial interests clash with America's #1 national security threat, China? And the answers? They left way more questions hanging than they wrapped up.
I want to first talk about the significant role that the FBI plays in combating the national security threats posed by our nation's greatest threat, our nation's greatest security threat, China and the Chinese Communist Party. It's a fact that China is America's most significant national security threat, isn't that correct?
I would say so, sir.
And you would agree with me that China wants to dominate the United States of America?
I think that's largely their plan.
And they want to dominate the world, both militarily and economically, isn't that correct?
I think so.
And sir, you've been FBI director for the last, 8 months?
7 months, yes.
7 months, and during that time, have you held any stock in any companies founded in China?
I don't believe so.
Well, you do own stock in a company known as Elite Depot, don't you?
Which one, sorry?
Elite Depot. You own stock.
I think I'll have to get back to you. I think it's a law firm and it's a company out of Singapore.
Okay, well, no, the company out of Singapore, which is owned by Elite Depot, is the Shein Company, which was founded in China, correct?
That company operates out of Taiwan.
Well, they changed their headquarters from China back in 2022 to Singapore for tax purposes, but it's owned by a Chinese billionaire. I think his name is Charlie Zhu, and you own stock in the company that owns Shein.
Which I disclosed during my confirmation process.
You certainly did. And now, do you still hold that stock in that Chinese company?
Pursuant to the Department of Justice, who reviewed my material that was submitted during my confirmation process, I was able to hold certain stocks, and they made the decision.
You still hold the stocks that you have? You still hold on to these Chinese stocks, these stocks in this Chinese company?
I disagree that it's a Chinese company, but I was in the DOJ, when you're appointed, makes a call on what you can and can't possess.
Well, now, let me ask you this. Chinese companies steal trademarks, they produce counterfeit products and sell them over the internet on platforms such as Shein. They steal intellectual property. They steal data from American companies. And to me, it seems inconsistent with your role as FBI director that you would own stock in a company that is based in a country that is the nation's premier national security threat. It's like you are putting your own financial security over the security of the nation.
I disagree with that characterization.
Well, I think the American people look at it like it's a classic situation of the fox guarding the hen house. If the FBI is charged with investigating espionage, economic espionage by companies controlled by the Chinese Communist Party, and you are the director of the FBI, you've got a conflict of interest.
Sir, I would just show if there's any intimation that I'm against.
Why are you holding on to this stock?
It wasn't a decision I made.
And it's valued at up to $5 million as of when you last reported, correct? $5 million in stock?
No, I don't follow it.
You don't follow it, but you're still making money off of it.
I don't have any money off of anything.
Well,
What I have done,
Trump's trade policies directly impact the value of that Chinese stock. Won't you agree with that?
which trade policy? I'm not a trade expert.
Okay, all right.
But I want to tell you this.
Crazy on me today. Let me ask you this question. Why are you hiding pedophiles? Why are you shielding pedophiles? Why are you protecting pedophiles?
That is maybe the most offensive thing you could say to me, given the numbers.
Well, you have not released
Given the
Epstein
numbers
files.
of pedophiles.
You are aware of
we
the
have
Epstein
arrested-
client list that was published in the 18,000.
The gentleman has
emails released?
expired. The gentleman yields
Can I just-
back.
Can you answer the
Can I
question?
just respond?
Of course, the gentleman can answer the question.
Since I took over the FBI, there has been a 33% increase.
Sir, all of that
Encounter-
started under Christopher
Your
Wray.
time is done, but
No, it didn't.
the witness gets to
All of
answer
that
the
started
question,
under
and then
the
we'll go to our
previous,
next.
33.
FBI director, sir, and you're coming in here trying to take credit for something that a previous director
Gentlemen,
instituted and largely brought to conclusion.
I take
I
no
think it's been
credit.
clear that
offensive.
the
It's
director
offensive.
has numbers are so
incorrect
much
also.
better than the previous director.
It's
Dr. Patel, if you
deceptive.
want to
I take-
answer the question.
I take no credit. The men and women of the FBI have seen a 33% increase in the number of counterintelligence
Yeah.
arrests out of the
And
PRC.
so all of a sudden, when
And
you
the-
coming in 7 months ago,
and,
Gentlemen's time has
Heaven on earth.
expired.
and on
sir,
the
the
pedophile
American public not gonna
accusation,
go for that.
we have arrested 1,500 child predators in the last 7 months.
Under
That's
investigations
more than
initiated by
anybody
the prior
Appreciate the
director.
director's good work, and we
1.1.
really
What made
appreciate
this
that the time the
exchange
gentleman's
stand out wasn't
expired.
the
We now-
shouting at the end. It was the quiet bomb Johnson dropped at the start, conflict of interest, and why it hits way harder than just this one hearing. Johnson started simple and solid. No controversy here. China is the biggest long-term national security headache we've got. That's straight intel community consensus, and it sets the bar the FBI director has to clear, not just in words, but in every call he makes. Then he slides smooth into financial disclosures, stuff most folks never hear broken down plain. The question wasn't, is owning stock illegal? Senior officials hold investments all the time, cleared by ethics lawyers. The real question, is it right for the top cop running counterintelligence and economic espionage probes to hold millions in a company tied to Chinese manufacturing and ownership? That's the gap that matters. Checking the ethics box doesn't automatically buy public trust. When Patel admitted he still owns the stock and pointed to DOJ ethics sign-off, it spotlighted the disconnect. Ethics clearance answers, is this allowed? It doesn't answer, does this look clean to the American people? Johnson wasn't dealing in hypotheticals. Chinese firms have been nailed time and again for IP theft, counterfeits, data grabs, economic strong-arming, the exact stuff the FBI hunts. When the guy running that hunt profits, even indirectly, from companies in that ecosystem, it plants seeds of doubt about split loyalties. And in national security, appearances aren't side issues, they're everything. Conflicts don't need evil intent, they just need closeness. The risk isn't that Patel would deliberately shield bad actors. The risk is that the public can't be 100% sure every decision is made without a flicker of hesitation or bias. Johnson dropped the classic line, the fox guarding the henhouse, not as a cheap shot, but as a real warning. Law enforcement only works when people believe it's truly independent from the players it's supposed to police. Once that belief cracks, every call gets second-guessed, even the fair ones. Things got messy later with side accusations, but don't lose the thread. The sharpest oversight often comes in the calm moments, when someone's forced to square personal gain with public duty. Patel leaned hard on arrest numbers and past wins. Those stats might be legit, but strong performance doesn't wipe away ethical red flags. You can be effective and still look compromised, and perception isn't fluff. It decides whether Americans trust the badge is working for the country, or cozying up to big interests. This exchange lays bare a bigger tug-of-war in today's government. We ask leaders to stare down foreign threats, rein in global giants, protect the nation, all while swimming in a world where personal wealth and international ties are the norm. Oversight's job is to hit pause and ask, are we crossing lines? This wasn't about proving Patel broke rules, it was about whether the rules themselves hold up when trust is already on thin ice. That's why this moment counts, not as viral yelling, but as a real-time lesson in how conflicts get debated, brushed off, and defended. If this breakdown cut through the noise and showed you what's really on the line, subscribe and stay locked in.